How did Gaia Homegirls come to be?
Well, so much laughing that I peed my pants. I can be in a grumpy, grouchy mood one minute, and then I get out in the woods for like 10-15 minutes, and there's a discernible shift, and that's what the mother does for us. You can throw all kinds of shit at her, and she still is there loving you and supporting you. The mama's had about enough here lately, though. Even mothers do have their limits on how much they will put up with before they will maybe put a stomping on your ass. What's interesting is that science is catching up with the things that we've understood. I mean, the science was there then. It was just so cutting edge and so fringe. Take it on back to the Salem witch trials and all of that. Most of those women, they were just healers. That's all they were. It's in that intention. And they're just showing up for it every day, even if it's
Painful.
and uncomfortable.
Because
some days just are.
it is.
Meditation's never going to be perfect. Sometimes they're like you hit the mark. You're like, what? Well, normally I'll have an anxious or a negative or a fearful thought coming up, and I'll just try to push it away. And now I'm realizing, no,
let it come.
Let it come on up. I'll be like, hey, you're welcome here.
I know you're scared.
Yeah.
But we're going to jump in that pool.
Yeah.
We're going to jump in that pool and we're going to swim around and it's going to be fun.
You ready, Lily?
I'm ready. Welcome. How did Gaia Homegirls come to be?
Well, so much laughing that I peed my pants. I literally had to go change my pants.
We watched our first the
we did watch that, and then we got into this crazy laughing fit over a potential name. What was it? It was Wackadoo Homegirls.
It was Wackadoo Homegirls at first, because I was sitting here watching it, and I was like, some girl is going to be watching this, and she's going to look at that and say, those are my homegirls. That's where it started.
And then I probably threw in Wackadoo.
You did?
Because
it was funny.
We're kind of wackadoo
We're
that way.
Wackadoo that way.
And then,
perfect.
And then for some reason, that just tickled the ever-living shit out of me. And I laughed until I cried and until I peed. I literally had to go change my pants because I just found it so hilarious, and I was determined that was actually going to be the name of our podcast, was the Wackadoo Homegirls. Mm-hmm. But Lily was not as crazy about that idea.
I was like, that is not
and I got
respectful to the brand.
And I got the text, are we sure about that name? And I'm like, no, I guess not. So then I gave it some thought, and I thought, what would be another more appropriate name for who we are? And that's when I was like, Gaia Homegirls. And
well, let's look up what Gaia means.
Let's
look up what Gaia means, because I thought that couldn't be more perfect with Let's Grow Outside.
Yeah.
That outside is Gaia,
and we are growing.
Yeah.
Especially when we are in touch with Gaia.
Right. And honors her and honors us.
Yep. And then we'll look up the definition for homegirls too, because
little technical
but Lily's
challenge.
A little tech challenged.
I am.
Hey Maggie.
I own it. I'm getting better.
I realize that we are sitting on my bad side.
Do you want to change?
It doesn't matter.
Okay. Oh,
What?
in Greek mythology, Gaia is the personification of Earth. Gaia is the ancestral mother. Okay, so what it means spiritually. Gaia emerged from chaos and is considered the supreme or mother goddess by immortals and mortals alike. All gods and goddesses are descendants from her through her union with Uranus and Pontus, heaven and sea. Her Roman equivalent is terra mater of tellus matter.
All right, that's
all.
That's all. That's not very
That's
useful.
not helpful. None of that's helpful. Why is Earth called Gaia? Maybe that's helpful. Since the 1970s, James Lovelock developed the Gaia hypothesis, named after the ancient Greek goddess of Earth.
Okay, the hypothesis. Okay, that's good.
As originally conceived, the Gaia concept envisages the Earth as a superorganism that operates to regulate its own environment, principally temperature, to keep its habitable for the biosphere.
Okay, that's wordy. Can you find the definitions that I sent you?
Yes. We will try that. Let me try and see, because I have to scroll through and see. All right. So continue amongst yourselves.
We should have done the pre-work.
We did do the pre-work, but we are learning
as we go. Yes, because
that's how we do things.
It is, and who knows whether this will come of anything. Who knows whether I'll even get it published.
You will get it published.
I have a slow track record so far.
It's all right.
It is all right. It'll all in due time.
All in due time.
All in due time.
We're working on it.
Do you want to go back inside, Maggie? Go ahead, girl.
And Maggie, the cat, has joined us.
Go ahead. Go on back inside. I think she wants to go back inside.
She wants to go be with Andrew.
Yep. She wants her lap buddy. Her boyfriend.
Oh, and you have homegirls too.
And I have what?
You have the definition of homegirls too.
I know.
Okay, here we go. Gaia Homegirls.
Okay.
The Greeks also referred the earth as Gaia. Their Gaia is not only an organic mechanism, but also a spiritual entity, a being with a life of its own and very particular identity, not to be confused with any other planet. Homegirls, plural,
Yeah.
a young female from one's own town or neighborhood or from the same social background.
Okay. We're not young, but
We're not, but
we're younger than we could be.
we're not old.
We're not old. We're somewhere in the middle.
We're somewhere in the middle. But if it's plural,
But we used to be young.
then
So,
we're young in our hearts.
we are very young in our
We're
hearts.
young in our minds.
We are young in our minds.
And what I like about this is it's from a female, we'll say a female.
Mm-hmm. It is.
What is that word?
Let me see. Acquaintance?
Acquaintance?
Yeah,
Is that
a young female acquaintance from one's own town or neighborhood or from the same background.
Uh-huh.
As an example, it appears he has forgotten everything about Kayla, his homegirl from North Carolina. He forgot everything about her. I don't know why. Yeah, so anyway.
So that's
a bunch of silliness.
That's a bunch of silliness. That is what that is. But
so you'll find over time that Lily's a little bit more Gaia. I'm a little bit more homegirl. And together we are Gaia Homegirls. Lily's got a little homegirl in her. Don't let her fool you.
And Kim has more Gaia in her than she is aware of.
Or that I pretend, anyway.
You pretend, but it is there.
Yeah.
It is there.
It's definitely there.
It's there.
It's pretty strong there.
Yes. So.
Yeah, and if you're hanging with me, you're a homegirl.
Yep.
That's all there is to it.
That's all there is to it. And I'm honored to be that.
Same.
I'm honored to be in the same class.
Same. Because Gaia actually has a lot of meaning.
It does.
Gaia is not only this beautiful, amazing planet that nurtures and heals and
it's love.
and connects us to our source. It is this beautiful example of God's love, and we are inhabitants on it. And when we're connected to it,
it's
definitely a female energy. It's a creative,
mother,
nurturing energy. Mm-hmm. Yes, and like all mothers, you can throw all kinds of shit at her, and she still is there, loving you and supporting you. But the mama's had about enough here lately, though. Even mothers do have their limits on how much they will put up with before they will maybe put a stomping on your ass.
Talk back.
It might be coming if we don't pay attention. It is the number one way my entire life where I have been able to really connect has been in nature. It is where all my inspirations come from. It is, I can be in a grumpy, grouchy mood one minute, and then I get out in the woods for like 10-15 minutes, and there's a discernible shift. There's a discernible shift, and that's what the mother does for us. Gaia also insinuates a spiritual connection with the mother, which is just the other side of the coin between our spiritual nature, our spiritual connection with the Father. I'm a certified tree hugger. I admit it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
and I'll even teach you how to hug a tree if you really want to know.
How to hug a tree, how to touch a tree, how to hear a tree.
Oh yeah.
How to
perceive them as a living consciousness that they
personality, and they each have a personality.
They most definitely do.
And they have it's scientifically proven that they speak to each other through their roots.
My theory has always been for a very long time that pretty much everything in nature is part of the greater consciousness. All the living creatures, the animals, the plants, every blade of grass, every ant, it's all part of the greater consciousness, and they communicate with us as well as with each other. And as humans, it would do us all a great service if we became more aware of that, and tapped into that.
And think of them as, I don't know, I think of them as my friends.
Oh, without a doubt.
If I'm in the car and I'm driving, I've had a hectic day, and all I have time to do is pull in somewhere and get something to eat to go, then I always feel better. And there's always a tree that says, hey, come have lunch with me. And I sit and I get my nutrients. It's like having lunch with a friend, and I feel better. I feel better when I leave.
Always. It's how my lunch walks are, because usually by the time I'm making it out the door, it's 2:00 in the afternoon. My brain's tired. Been dealing with the public. I'm so ready to go on my break, and it's only like 30 minutes in the woods. It's this little loop around Duke Forest.
Yeah,
and it just brings me so much joy and so much, like, it completely changes my attitude by the time I get back to work. Yeah, if I'm in a grumpy mood or I'm really tired, by the time I make it back to work, I'm re-energized, and it gets me through the rest of my day. So I'm not falling asleep at my desk after 2:30. Yeah, I've actually been like, oh, okay, I can make it through the rest of the day, and it gets me going. But yeah, it's good stuff. So Gaia, it was a very appropriate. If Wackadoo wasn't gonna work, then then Gaia will work. And then from the homegirl perspective, you're much more proper than I am, and ladylike and things of that nature. My upbringing and a variety of different things have just, I'm not so proper or ladylike. I'm very homegirl like.
Yeah, I homegirl, you're always very relatable. It's always you take very abstract concepts, or what might be abstract concepts, and break them down, and it's very simple. It's very relatable. It makes everything okay. If you're
and because you don't have to be this,
and you don't have to
uber intellectual person.
You do not
to
and you don't have to be choose the right words.
You don't.
And be proper in it. And there's a sense of simplicity in what I've learned.
And realness. Just being
and
real.
realness.
Being real.
And, you know, and being okay and comfortable with whatever the subject matter is. Being comfortable and it's palatable. You can digest it. You can have fun with it. You can relax. And talking about, like, the young female aspect of that is that you can come back and you can be 13 or 16 or 30 or 56 or wherever you are in that space.
Yeah.
And I think a homegirl is somebody you can come together with and have joy and feel at home with wherever you are.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, whatever you're experiencing, and for it to be
whatever your age is,
whatever your weight is, whatever you're married or single or divorced, or you can all come together and support each other. I think that's what a homegirl does, is that they're supportive and welcoming wherever you're coming from.
Make you feel at home.
Make you feel at home. That's what a homegirl does.
There we go. Perfect definition.
That to me, like looking at us talking about whatever we were talking about in the woods, and I don't even remember what it was specifically, maybe it was all of it. And it was like, we're relatable. Like somebody is going to be sitting on their couch and saying, finally, somebody is talking about the stuff that's in my head.
Yeah. Well, because a lot of the things that we talk about, people are afraid to talk about. And not because they're politically incorrect, because that's not the kind of stuff we talk about, but because they're spiritually incorrect at times, or
hello,
woo, or there are subject matters that just don't get covered because there's so much other crap that's taking up the air. We tend to get into some really interesting things, and it's not going to be for everybody. There's going to be some people that are just going to be like, those girls are weird. They're just weird.
And that's okay.
And we are fine with that. The great thing about being a middle-aged homegirl is we don't give a shit about whether or not people like us. We're not going to be for everyone. We're not meant to be for everyone, because not everybody speaks the same language. Not everybody speaks the same.
And that's the beauty of being here, is that
yeah.
we don't have to.
And we're all on a different place in our own personal journeys. And sometimes the things that we're talking about, it's just going to irritate you. You don't.
And that's okay too.
That's okay too. There's another channel out there for you. But then there's going to be people that have been having these thoughts or these questions, and there's been nobody else around to talk to about it. And we know what that feels like, because a lot of the things that we talk about, the mainstream hasn't been interested in. But what's interesting is that is changing.
That is changing.
That is changing, because what is considered woo-woo now versus what was woo-woo 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when we were like really coming into this, into all of our knowledge and wisdom about spiritual aspects that are outside of the normal religious dogmas. And
or even at the time, you think about, it's like we were spiritual when spiritual wasn't cool.
Very much so, yes.
It was the groundbreakers like Louise Hayes and Carolyn Weiss and Wayne Dyer and
Deepak Chopra,
all of those that came before us, and that those were pioneers of this work.
And they were on the edge of fringe, very far edges of fringe, but things have changed drastically. I used to talk about this stuff with people, and I was always the Fruit Loop in the group, the tree hugger. I've been called a number of things
that are disrespectful.
Well, they aren't untrue, However, there is a particular way that some people use the language in a derogatory manner as a way of making fun of people that believe outside the mainstream understanding of such matters. And what's interesting is that science is catching up with the things that we've understood. I mean, the science was there then. It was just so cutting edge and so fringe. The mainstream of scientists weren't looking at it yet.
Well, not only were they not looking at it, they were
like
condemning it.
Yeah, they were. But that is how science goes. That is how fringe science comes into being everyday science. Everything that we have in our modern scientific world at one time was considered all kinds of things.
All kinds of things.
It was considered completely crazy and off the rocker down to like just straight up sacrilegious and against religion. And take it on back to the Salem witch trials. Most of those women, they were just healers. That's all they were. And they were accused of being supernatural evil beings, basically, and people that foster that, and then they were persecuted for it. Just all kinds of. That's what I think is some wackadoo shit. Is that people would persecute people over their belief systems. So it's come a long way. Just in our lifetime, not 20, 30 years ago, we weren't being persecuted like they were hundreds of years ago, obviously. But people did not take us seriously. For sure. And so it made you feel like you needed to hide that part of yourself, keep it on the low down, appear mainstream when you're not really. Lilli's always been better at that than I have. But you were in sales and you were in you were in media.
I was in media. I was in marketing.
Yeah, so you kind of had to
put the suit on.
And I was never in that. I was either waiting tables or I was in technology, just in the kind of the background. And even now, working in higher education, I'm working in Ivy League higher education, which is interesting because they're so open-minded and diverse. But it's also just a different day. I mean, I still don't fly my freak flag at work or anything like that. But over time, people have come to know me as being a little different and being out there on the edge. But they love me, so it's okay.
Well, they need the information, and the beautiful thing about you is that, and I guess I know you personally, and we've created this bubble.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what this can be for people, is that the people that need a bubble have one.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And it's okay to be whatever it is that you are. Because, and it's important and what I'm recognizing more and more is it's important for us to stand in it and have the conversations and be strong in ourselves and have those conversations, because there's at least 10 people.
So other people can have them too.
So other people can have them too. So the accountants of the world and the people that you wouldn't expect to be able to have a conversation are waiting for it.
Yeah.
And waiting for someone to step in and have the conversation in a way that is comfortable, and they can accept. It's important for us to come out and have a conversation.
And bridge that gap,
You are exceptional at articulating it in a way that people can receive. You always have been. Maybe it's refined.
It's definitely refined over the years. We have to use our intuition to know when and where.
What language.
Yeah, and because everybody that we're talking to is differently.
People can't understand is the difference between talking Spanish, English, and Chinese. If we're over here talking Chinese, and this person over here is talking English, and they don't even know that Chinese exists, we do have to temper that message. I think that's what makes this so fluid sometimes, and we jump around and it's not as buttoned up.
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty of it.
I think it is too. Like right now, it feels pretty awkward.
Yeah.
Like trying to like
put it in a box.
Like for the audience
to say, okay, who are these girls and what are they doing?
Yeah.
Because we want to explain that,
and then just kind of get back to like just
talking.
Being real. Yeah. Back to the point earlier was we are going to be for a specific group of people that are going to be interested in what we have to say. And because some of it's going to be over people's heads, not because we're smarter than anybody, because we're not. It's just a different language. It's a different way of perceiving the world around us, and the things that we've learned and the experiences that we've had that have given us the perspectives that we have.
Right.
Are unique to us. And then there's going to be other people that also relate to that. And then there's just going to be a whole fuckload of people that are not going to get what this is about. And that's okay. It is okay. Because we're weird. We are. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. But
I'd like to come up with a different word.
Well, weird is not bad. I mean, weird, I like weird. Weird is...
What is the definition of weird? What is your definition of weird when you say it?
Unusual, outside the box, somewhat perplexing, different,
special.
I wouldn't say special, because
I think we're unique.
Unique, yes. Because unique things get the weird tag. Again, we weird, like woo-woo, it has different meaning depending on how you use it. If you're calling me a weirdo with like that tone in your damn voice, then obviously I know that you're saying it in a derogatory manner. I mean, I love being a tree hugger. I love hugging trees, but if you call me a tree hugger with that smirk on your face, like all condescending, then that's a very clear vibe. And
energy doesn't lie.
It does not. And so
even when things are flowery sometimes.
Absolutely. And I would like to say that I don't give a shit and I won't be offended, but I might be offended. It depends on the day.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I
just like woo-woo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
what the fuck is woo-woo?
What is it, woo-woo?
Yeah.
And it has become a designer word.
Totally. Yes.
It is not what it used to be. And I think
it's all trendy now.
It's trendy now.
And it even gets caught up in the whole cliche / buzzword of wokeness. I really dislike the way language is being like distorted and used against people, because I mean, I want to be awake personally. I want to be awake. I want to be aware and self-aware and aware of my surroundings and awake to the illusion, like, because we're all just living in a world that we think is real, but it's just a fucking illusion. And I want to be aware of that. I want to be awake to that. And sometimes that might be that I am aware that my co-human over here might have a different perspective than me. And I might have some appreciation for it, even though...
Imagine that.
Even though I don't understand it.
But
I might even think it's a little weirdo. But me being...
Or different than I think about it.
Yeah, but me being appreciative of you as a unique human that might have some things about you that I can't comprehend, understand. Grateful it's not me.
But that...
You never know.
But that you can come together.
That's what I think is like
come together.
Being awake and aware and being okay with you being who you are and you being who you are and you fighting for the things that matter for you. You fighting for the things that matter for you, and there might not be things that matter to me that much. But I support
your fight.
Your fight.
Because that is what we have. That is what we have in common.
Yeah.
That is what we have in common, is that if you're over here and you are on your journey, right?
Yeah.
We're all here on this beautiful, magical journey together. And if you're over here on your path with your purpose and your experiences have brought you to this place to deliver this purpose, whatever that may be, and I'm here on my journey to deliver my purpose, then it makes no sense for me to look at you and say yours is wrong and mine is right. That makes no sense.
I'm all about be yourself and be true to yourself, and everybody else will fall into place, or new people will come along that are your people, that are your tribe.
Exactly. That can relate to your spiritual truths.
Absolutely.
As much as it can anything else.
Really, yeah, anything.
That can relate to your how you live your spiritual truth.
Yeah, because religion isn't always very
forgiving. And there are many different ways to God and to healthy well-being.
Yeah. And
being comfortable with saying and doing and being who it is that you are spiritually, I think is this platform is our way, I think, of stepping into that in a way that we own it, feel it, say it, and put it out there in a way that we have not before. And I know for me, has been very uncomfortable to do.
Same for me. I mean, I'm very accustomed to just saying what I feel and being who I am, but I'm also very accustomed to
doing that in your tribe.
Yes.
And only with your tribe.
Yes.
and stepping out here the way we are
is very, very uncomfortable.
Is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And joyful. And exciting. And all the things.
Yeah.
It's everything.
And I could not have done it 20 years ago.
No.
Not in a million years.
No. I don't know that I could have done it 4 years ago.
I agree.
Maybe I could have done it 2 years ago, but I couldn't have done it 4 years ago.
I couldn't have either.
Couldn't do it by myself. So thank you.
Yeah, I've been waiting for the camaraderie to be able to do this too. Of course, Andrew was telling me 3 or 4 years ago I should have a YouTube channel, but I didn't believe him. And in fact, I was just like, no. Because I had no desire to put myself out there. But all of a sudden, that's just kind of changed. And now I'm willing to put myself out there, but not as much this, this side of myself. Because it's one thing to just put out personal growth tips and these are the things to do to like
feel better.
Yeah, whatever.
Live better.
That's one thing. And talking about books and things of that nature, and that's all wonderful stuff. But the kind of conversations that we have are definitely
a little deeper.
A little
deeper. Pushes us out there.
Yeah, and
a little bit more.
And pushes a lot of norms because we don't really conform to norms that much.
Maybe it's not as scary as we believe it to be.
Well, apparently not, because I see so many YouTube channels with people talking about things. I mean, so many of them. So many of them.
I think COVID birthed that.
I know it did. And COVID kind of birthed a new era in us in general.
Absolutely. Definitely in me.
We leaped forward a little evolutionarily
so.
A little bit.
Yep.
From COVID, because we were forced into this like pressure cooker, and we kind of expanded.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no not expanding.
Mm-hmm.
And we probably have a lot more of that coming as humanity and technology and all the things continue to expand exponentially in our lifetimes.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no going back.
Mm-hmm.
Not without another massive asteroid hitting the Earth.
Right.
In that case, we're going back. We're starting over, but
we can say no thank you, no thank you universe, no thank you, and see how that goes.
Yeah.
It's cold.
You need to start the fire?
Yeah.
Hey, Maggie, you want to get
And
my
I
lamp?
have to commend you, Kimmy.
You want to
for-
give my lamp?
Maggie.
There you go.
Hello, Maggie. This is Maggie.
There you go.
Like all the work you've done, like all the work,
Comfy.
all of the steady, committed work you've done. Not just in the meditation process, but learning the stuff on the computer, learning the technology of how to do the podcast and how to put it together, and all the content. I mean, you have some amazing content.
Thank you.
And the beautiful thing about having that content and having the range of content that you have is like we were talking about, people hear things differently.
Yeah.
Like it's the language, and what might work for somebody might not work for somebody else. The beautiful thing about having an array of content is when you're talking to somebody, you can say, oh, this person needs Abraham Hicks, or this person needs Joe Dispenza, or this person needs Kyle Craig, or this person needs Louise Hayes.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when you're talking to people, or when I'm talking to people, something will come back, and some of those oldies but goodies work as good as any of the newer content.
For sure.
And the beautiful thing about that is maybe they start at something older, and then they'll come back, and then the newer makes sense.
Yeah. That's definitely kind of how it goes. It was like, I mean, I was introduced to Joe Dispenza 25 years ago.
Oh,
for the first time. Well, he was in The Secret.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was in The Secret.
I didn't know that.
And that was I don't even know if he'd written his first book yet.
I did not.
Maybe he had written Rewire Your Brain at that point.
I did not know
that was some serious cutting edge
at
25 years ago.
I didn't know that.
And then I didn't get reintroduced to him again. It was actually Andrew first started saying, hey, you should listen to this Joe Dispenza guy. I think it's right up your alley because it's what you're interested in. And I kept, well, okay, yeah, sure. And he actually started listening to him on his own. And he actually started meditating before I did. And then through Kathy Heller, who I was introduced to through Mel Robbins, Kathy Heller talks a lot about him. She's been to multiple of his retreats. And so it was from listening to Kathy Heller that I was like, oh, I need to give that Joe Dispenza guy a look. And then once I did, it was exactly what this whole process has been.
Shows up exactly
different
like you
teachers have come along at exactly the right time, exactly when I've been ready to learn something, a new aspect of myself. You know, you think initially that you're learning all that as this external knowledge.
No,
it's not.
It's not. It's all.
You're learning about yourself.
Yeah, and that the knowledge is within.
Yeah.
Nothing is outside of yourself.
Yeah, it's just ringing so true because we already know it. And we're being reminded of that knowledge that was already within us. Yes, because the universe is within us. Like all of source creation is within us. And
we're designed that way.
All of that knowledge, all of that understanding, things about science that we don't even have a concept of yet is inside of us.
Exactly. Because we're made of it.
And that is not a concept that I've even really been able to get until just recently. It's only through meditation, actually,
that you've gotten there.
That I've gotten there.
I would say the same is true for me.
I could understand them kind of intellectually, but I did not really understand it. Yeah.
At your heart, soul level.
Yeah, until I experienced it.
Well, and that's
totally
all
different.
Energy work. It's like when you try to explain people how that works.
Yeah.
It's experiential. Is
yes, it is.
Is
very
how
much
you
so.
understand it best.
Very much so.
I started listening to Joe Dispenza's sleep meditation at night for 2 weeks.
His restoration one?
I guess that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, he's got several night ones, but This one is specifically called restorative sleep.
Yes, yes. So I've been listening to that, and I can tell a difference.
I can too.
And of course, I did the 11-day prosperity meditation that Kyle Gray does this time of year. We just finished that. So I do both.
Yeah.
And I can tell that as I'm going through heavy emotional events with people, whatever they may be, in myself, with other people, my recovery time is cut in half.
Yeah.
Like, I'm more rested. I get into my day quicker. I have a mental clarity or an awareness that seems to be heightened in my interactions within myself with everybody. I'm like, oh, this is different. And because I'm doing multiple things, sometimes it's hard to say which one's working.
Yeah.
I guess it's all of it together.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's intentional.
Yeah.
And
well, that's where the magic is. It's in that intention. And the just showing up for it every day, even if it's
painful
and uncomfortable.
Because
some days just are.
It is.
Meditation is never going to be perfect. Sometimes they're like you hit the mark. You're like, what? And then some days you're like, that was work.
Okay.
That was a lot of work.
And sometimes I don't know. I used to think, and I still sometimes I fall back into this. Is I'm at this peaceful place. Like when you hit it, I'm at this peaceful place, and I should just be able to stay in this peaceful place no matter what hits me today. That's not true.
No, it's not. It's definitely not. And that's the hard part. It's not even the sitting down and meditating that's the hard part.
It's not.
It's the then bringing that energy
into the world, into your day.
Specifically, that vibration, that frequency.
Yes.
Into your day, the rest of the day.
The rest of the day.
Which is what Joe's walking meditations are about. It's a training you
to do that.
With your eyes open while you're walking into your day. Mm-hmm. And it is not as easy as you think it is.
It is
especially
not.
When you have a bazillion distractions around you. Versus when we're doing it out in the land. And
right.
It's just us with the magical trees.
And it's wonderful.
It's so easy.
It's so wonderful.
But that's not life in general.
And
that's heaven.
I think that's the misconception though.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've had it. Is that I've done this today.
Now I'm good. I'm good.
I'm good. I'm
true.
Good all day.
Not true.
And it's
like literally all day.
All day.
You have to focus your intention.
You do. You have to
shift your
what
attention.
The meditation helps you do is to exercise the muscle.
Agreed.
So that you can lean into it.
Agreed. It's definitely
when it gets harder.
It is definitely a training of that muscle every single day.
I get these sensations at my third eye. Sometimes I get sensations in my hand, but I feel like, pay attention to that, Lilli, because that's going to help you going into this situation, or you're in a situation where it's time to lean in.
Yeah.
But without the meditation and without the practice, I wouldn't even recognize when that. Maybe when that's happening.
Well, and that's where I've been getting a lot out of, because of course with any of the audiobooks that I listen to, from Dr. Joe to David Hawkins to Kyle Cease to whoever it may be. And then also I've been listening to all the Abraham little 15-minute video clips, because it literally, every chance I get throughout the day when I'm not with other people, I'm not working, so to speak, or I'm not otherwise
distracted, engaged.
Otherwise engaged. Anytime I have like downtime, like in the car or whatever, I'm refocusing my energy again, because throughout the day it's come down a little bit more and a little bit and a little bit and a little bit until I get a chance to recharge, which is oftentimes my break at work. First thing I do is that when I get in my car is I turn on whatever it is that I'm listening to that is going to raise my vibe. It's going to raise my energy. because it's inevitable that as I go out into the world, I'm gonna come into contact with whatever that is going
and
to
that's
decrease my
but
vibration.
that's our job.
It is. But then when I find myself low energy or irritable, even particularly if I'm irritable, because of the events of the day, then it is 100% my responsibility to find a few moments to recenter myself, detach myself from that energy outside of myself, because that is not mine. The goal is to stay connected to your source energy as much as possible
all the time,
which is not possible all the time.
But
it is what we should be striving for. It's in that place that's where like the magic happens.
Well, and that's where
that is where miracles happen. That's where healing happens. That's where love happens. That is where the good stuff happens. And it's really, really challenging to do it if you aren't practicing every day. And I didn't, even until recently, I never understood what they meant by a yoga practice, a meditation practice. I just thought it was a chore. I don't think that way anymore.
Because it fills you up.
Does it ever?
It fills you up. It makes you feel good.
And sometimes when I go there and I'm struggling or whatever, I'm uncomfortable or whatever, but I keep at it, and it's not working for me, but I just keep at it, and then all of a sudden
it comes in.
I lock into it, and then I'm just like, oh my God, thank you so much. There you are. There you are. Thank you. I'll be so grateful. I've been noticing that lately just because the meditation has just been slowly evolving over time. At the first couple of months that I was meditating, I started to notice like on the
edge. It builds on itself.
Well, like on the edge of everything in the darkness, I could sense that there was wavy, like vibratory stuff. And then I was like, oh, what is that? And now when that happens, when that vibratory sensation or experience happens in meditation, I know I'm in there. I'm in there. And it feels like home.
It does feel like home.
And it feels so comforting and loving. It's like the stuff that all things are made of. And now I can get in it and sit in it for a while.
Yeah.
I used to be able to only like get in and get out, or like touch it and like woo. Slowly over time, I'm able to get in a little bit deeper, stay a little bit longer, and I know that I'm just scratching the surface. And it gets a lot deeper. Well, in fact, it gets infinitely deeper. And like Joe says all the time, and Joe's been immersed in this work for 30 years, and he keeps saying, you think you have experienced all the love you can possibly experience, and yet there's more. And that's a hard concept to grasp if you're not experienced, which is why the practice is not this chore.
Be like curious about it.
It is.
I'll be in my car, and it's like I'll get out of my car, and suddenly I can feel everything.
Yeah.
The earth, the sky, the stars. It happens randomly. It happens randomly. It definitely happens when I'm in meditation, but it also occasionally will happen, and I just get this overwhelming feeling of, it's an energy, it's like a wave, and it comes through me, and I'll be like, oh,
it's here.
It's here. I'm just going to stop. I'm going to stop and let that just come through me, and 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 then it stops.
I realize now that when I have felt that in the past, it freaked me out, and I would stop it.
I've had that moment.
Yeah,
I've had
many of those.
I've had that moment
when I'm alone, and all of a sudden the air gets real thick and like staticky feeling, and you get the feeling like you're being watched or something like that.
Those are just your angels.
Yeah.
It's just your angels.
But I've gotten the feeling, and it would freak me out. And I would just be like, nope, turn on something loud music or whatever. Now I have a totally different perception of it. And it's happened a few times in meditation too. Like early on when I was meditating, I would experience kind of like a falling. Falling sensation. Yeah. And I'm like, nope. I pull myself right on back out. Or feeling myself leaving my body. That's happened a couple of times. And I have yet to let it go. It feels a little bit out of control. Which gets back to I realize I'm literally just scratching the surface on what's to come. And of course, I've got the rest of my life, every day for the rest of my life to explore it. And at this point in my life, I'm committed to that. Never, ever, 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 ever thought I would be someone that would meditate every day. Ever. Never. Even prayers. I don't pray every day. I mean, I talk to God and to Jesus and whatnot every day, but some of it sometimes it's just in passing. It's just in conversation.
It's a conversation. Right? Help me.
Well, not even that. In fact, I very rarely ask for help. It's a whole lot more thank yous.
Thank yous.
Yeah. Just general conversation, I suppose. But
there is such beauty in that. There's just such beauty in that connection.
I agree.
And conversation, and the ability to not allow the distraction to steal it from you.
Yeah,
because that's what happens.
That's what it is.
It steals it from you.
Yep. And the distraction is a biological reaction.
It is.
That's all that it is.
It is. But it's real.
It is indeed, and it will definitely steal your peace.
It will.
It helps to know that it's a biological reaction.
It does. I have never thought about it that way.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what Joe teaches. Because knowing what we know now about how cortisol floods your system.
Oh my God.
With a single thought. Well, not a thought, but a thought that turns into an emotion. Then reacts by dumping cortisol into your system if it's a stressful emotion.
And I'm telling you.
And then once it starts dumping it, then your body wants more. And then you get stuck in those thought patterns that provoke those emotions that dump more cortisol into your bloodstream. And will keep you in that pattern of drama, sickness, anger, strife, fear, just as a biological reaction to a thought which led to an emotion. That's it. And meditation bypasses all of that.
Yeah, it does.
It bypasses. It shuts it down. Even if it's only for temporarily.
It does.
It shuts it down and quiets it. And it tells the body that it can stop releasing the hormone now.
That is the process I have been going through. And I wonder, it's because we're learning.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
It's because we're learning. As we're learning.
Yeah.
And the more we do it, the more we learn.
Yeah.
And that's why my emotions have intensified.
Yeah.
There has been a tremendous amount of clearing and healing. Quick. And when it first started happening, I was like, let's move through this quickly. But now I relax into it.
Same. Well, normally I'll have an anxious or a negative or a fearful thought coming up, and I'll just try to push it away. And now I'm realizing, no,
let it come.
Let it come on up. And be like, hey, you're welcome here.
Yeah.
You feel the way you're going to feel. And even let it build.
Let it build.
And then
let it go.
And intentionally be like, you're welcome here.
And now, look, I know you're scared.
Yeah.
But we're going to jump in that pool.
Yeah.
We're going to jump in that pool and we're going to swim around and it's going to be fun.
And then we can just let it go.
And we can let it go.
Yeah, I know it sounds silly.
But it's the truth.
and it's a technique. It is a technique for letting go.
It is
successfully.
It is.
The repressing of the feelings, the trying to deny that you feel certain things,
or negotiate with it, or bargain with it, or
just straight out deny it. That's not serving anybody, because they are there and
to teach us.
And when we pretend that they're not even there, we deny them. We're denying ourselves. We're denying our inner truth.
Makes no sense.
And whereas if you allow them to come up, even embrace them, as crazy as that kind of might sound, like embrace them, love, love yourself for having
whatever
that feeling
is,
even if it's angry. Love yourself for it's part of who you are.
Or anger is tough one for me.
Well, we're humans. Anger is just a vibration. That's all that it is. It's a slightly higher vibration than despair. And this is Abraham Hicks. This is straight up Abraham stuff. If you are in a state of despair, hopeless despair, there's nowhere else to go. You stay there long enough, you're probably going to die. You're probably writing your own ticket. Despair. There's no lower energy than despair. So for people that have been in despair,
anger is a good thing.
It's a step or two up. Anger will provoke some energy. It'll get some energy going, so you can take some sort of action. That's not saying you take action against somebody else or any of those things, but it's better than despair. And then if you can build up muster up some anger so that you get some action going and some momentum going, and then you can start working on evolving from anger into resentment. Working through that resentment. And then maybe the next one up is jealousy. There's literally a whole ladder that is described in Ask and It Is Given. Jerry and Esther Hicks, Abraham. It's a whole ladder of emotion.
Is that a book?
Frequency. Oh yeah, Ask and It Is Given. Yeah, it's channeled writings from Abraham.
Okay.
It's a fantastic book. It's so good. In fact, the audiobook helped me get myself out of a depression when Joshua was younger, when he was about 4 years old. I was in a high functioning depression for sure that had gone on for a little while, and I was falling asleep at work. I was crying for no reason. I was just like, having no fun, sad and listless, and I knew I was depressed. And it was that book that helped me raise my vibration enough to start taking a little bit more action, doing a little bit more, and having more and more awareness. And ironically, that was like 20 years ago, because he was like 4. So I've come back around again to Abraham, and just the everyday intentionality behind making sure my vibration is high. We're in our 50s. If we aren't paying attention, that shit will tank. Because our physical bodies are challenging us at this age.
Yeah.
And we're naturally challenged by less energy.
Yeah.
And your body parts that are starting to hormones and all these things. So I've found that you go through these cycles of this knowledge and this wisdom, and it just jacks me up.
Yeah.
But then
it'll plateau.
It'll plateau, and then it'll start to go down again, and if you're not paying attention, complacency will set in. And then you get stuck down there in a complacent spot for a long time. And at our age,
we can't do it.
Can't do it because that wreaks havoc on our bodies.
We can't do it.
It wreaks havoc on our bodies to be in that complacent, non-growing,
and I see
low vibration state. And when you start to feel that way on a long-term basis, at a certain age, when your body's already, you feel like your body is betraying you, that leads to losing hope. And then losing hope eventually leads to despair. And then you're on the way out, dude. You might slow march, fast march, you're on the way out. And I could feel that coming over me a few years ago when my health was just starting to like compound on me. I seemingly had a great life and all, but I was unsatisfied, stuck in a rut. And on top of it, my 50-year-old body was not what it used to be. Not performing the way it used to, hurting a lot. And that was all depressing as shit. And I could see how if I don't do something, this is only going to compound. And then I'm not going to be very happy to be on this planet anymore in a decade. And is that what I want? And I really did not want that. I want to live a long life, but I want to feel good.
Feel good, be good.
And what purposeful. What I know for sure is that I'm the only one that has any kind of control over that, over whether I feel good or not.
Yep.
It's not my boyfriend, it's not my job, it's not my kids, it's not even my animals it's not their job to make me feel good. It is only mine. And I didn't even know how to make my feel good. Well, I did, but it was out of grasp. So you got to start where you are.
Right.
So for me, it was literally starting where I was that's when I found Mel Robbins. I was like, why am I procrastinating? Why can't I just do these things for myself that I know are going to make me feel good? And so that's where I had to start again. It's like the third or fourth times I've started. But what I've learned finally.
But you don't start over.
I mean, not completely over because you have some base knowledge. But every time you're starting over, at least for me, I would start over by beating myself up. Like, how the fuck did I get back here? Again. And now I know the reason. Now I know why. Because I, for even just one day, thought that I could not pay attention towards it. Just, that is the trick, is because you raise your vibration. Oftentimes it's like learning and experience, like really gets your vibration going. And then you think, oh yeah, I'm here. I'm never gonna like not be here. But you're only there because you put some effort into being there, or some circumstances helped you get there.
True.
But if you don't, like, every single day put your love and attention into yourself and your vibration, eventually you will be back there again. And that has been the number one thing that I've learned this time that I never got before, as to why do I keep like forgetting, or why do I keep falling back into that complacent trap
place.
And it's because I stopped doing the things that I need to do to raise my vibration.
Right.
Tend to it. Tend to my soul. And I never fully understood self-care and the need for it until now. Like, literally till now.
That's another word that's been,
I agree,
that
overused,
has been overused and misunderstood.
Totally.
And I hear it used in fitness ways, in light ways, and I guess that's okay for that audience. That's where you are.
Yeah.
But it's so much more,
and yet so simple.
Very simple. It's just consistency.
It is. That's really it.
And a belief.
Yeah. And a commitment.
Most definitely.
There is the commitment to yourself.
And the beautiful thing about it is that once you're there, like once you're in the spot where you are that committed, and you do it, it compounds on itself.
It does. It's like friggin' interest.
It's compound interest.
It totally is.
It is.
You building your future.
You build it. And the one thing we must never forget, more now than ever, the veil is thinner.
Yes, it is.
It's thinning.
It is indeed.
And what that means is there's a whole lot of angelic help out there for us. All we have to just call on them.
Yep.
But we have to, because they can't help us without us asking.
Yeah, and I have a lot of problems with that. that is something that I need to work more on, is asking for help from the angelic realm. I tend to feel guilty for asking for help. Isn't that weird?
It is weird.
Isn't that really weird? I'll thank them all day long. I have a very hard time asking them for help.
You can ask.
But I'm like that in life too. I have a hard time asking
for help.
And I'm not really quite sure where that comes from. But it doesn't matter. I need to get the fuck over it. Because the angels and the spirit guys, they want to help us so bad.
So bad. And I feel like we put them up there.
Yeah.
And I guess that's true to a certain extent. But they're right here.
Yeah, they're really parallel.
They're parallel.
Yeah, just a slightly different dimension.
They're looking at us like, oh my God, you came here. You actually went to Earth to have this experience, to forget, purposely forget, to remember again.
Yeah. And
you're here, and we can help you. And that is their sole job.
Makes them so happy when
it makes them so happy when that happened. And that collaboration, when it is working together, it is miraculous. It's nothing like that. Nothing like that.
Yep.
And then it multiplies.
Yeah.
And you can give it it's just easy. You're in the flow, and you can help somebody else and help somebody else.
Yeah.
And help somebody else, and then it's reciprocal.
Yeah.
Is that where that exchange happens?
Yeah.
And it's like, wow.
Kind of back to how all of this kind of starts, you accepting that assistance and that love and whatnot. Oftentimes you got to be at a place where you're either at your wit's end.
Yep.
Or you've done a lot of work.
Yep.
To get to a point where you can accept and receive it.
Yep. And there's a meditation for that.
There is indeed.
There's a meditation for that.
There is indeed.
And I have done and it sneaks up. This shit sneaks up on you.
It's
like, well, damn it. How in the hell did I get here?
Again.
How did I get freaking here? I'm irritated. I know all of this shit. If anybody knows that I know all of this shit.
Yeah.
And here I am. I hate that.
But we should love that.
I'm going to love it.
Remember?
I'm working on it.
I love that.
I'm working.
I love that about me.
I'm working on loving it about me. I'm working on I am accepting. I accept that I love that about myself.
I had a funny conversation with my irritable, grumpy rebel without a cause the other day. It was so funny.
You did.
I totally did.
You did.
All by myself, with myself.
With yourself, you did? What did you? I want to hear it.
I don't really recall what I was so irritable about, but
I wanted. What was
but
the conversation?
It started out with chastising myself for being irritable, but then I remembered that does not work. Chastising me has never worked. I just got to remembering that she does have a cause. She's not a rebel without a cause. She does have a cause, but she just doesn't know that I got this. And then I love her for being such a ballsy
chick,
rebellious spitfire sometimes, and I love her for that. But I got this. I understand why she might have some doubts, because I hadn't always had this.
I understand.
But now I do, and it's okay. It turned it. I know, it's just.
That's funny.
It sounds ridiculous.
No,
but
I totally.
But I ended up totally laughing at myself.
That's good.
And,
we gotta laugh at ourselves. We gotta laugh at ourselves, because laughing raises your vibration.
Absolutely, it does.
It
takes the
heaviness off.
It's just so not even relevant. It's
not
like the heaviness. The heaviness is fabricated. We fabricate the heaviness.
Well, we produce it.
Correct. We literally
produce it
and turn it into something that is not even.
Not even. No.
As if it's something that's outside of us, and it's all just silliness.
God, I couldn't stand it. My brother, don't be silly, Lilli.
Silly Lilli.
Don't be silly, Lilli. She used to say that to me all the time.
Could it be about that time?
It is, dear. I hate it.
It is. I know. It's been
hate
lovely. We need to get out here on a Saturday when you don't have to get up in the morning. Get our silly Lilli on.
Yay! That's my favorite. That's my favorite.
And some Wackadoo Homegirls.
Wackadoo Homegirls.
Come say goodbye, Lilli. We'll see you later.
Bye. Bye. Next time.
All right. Oh, excuse me.
That's all right.
Pardon me.
That's all right.
I'm not even going to edit that out.
Huh.
I've actually been sitting there farting for like 5 minutes.
And you never did. It's all right. All right. It happens. Believe me. That always happens to me at the most